Okay, so in this session, we are going to discuss inheritance in Groovy. So let's first understand what is inheritance. Let's we try to understand scenario where inheritance concept needs to use. So here we have scenario. Suppose we have two types of phone. One is a feature phone, and other one is a smartphone. So let's as said that online shopping app want to sell different type of phone. So suppose we have two different type of phone, feature phone and smartphone. So feature phone has these are property, yes, no, and smartphone have some set of property. So it means we have two different type template we need to create because we have two different type of phone. One is a smartphone and other is a feature phone. So we have created one smartphone template, and this in the smartphone template we're defining all the required properties that are required for a smartphone and related to functionality that we have required. So now we have defined feature phone. The smartphone has brand, price, camera, OS, RAM, and battery, whereas feature phone can have only brand, price, camera, and type. And now the smartphone you can buy, you can return, you can insure, but feature phone you can buy, you can return, and you can exchange. These are functionality that associated with feature phone. So it means we have two different classes. There are two different templates we have defined. If you want to create a smartphone type object, you can use that template to create a smartphone object. If you want to create feature phone type object, you can use this feature phone template to create a feature phone object. But look at this both template, we can see that both classes have a lot in common. It means both classes, if you look both template, you will find out lot of common attribute. So you can check here like in smartphone also have brand, price, and camera. Feature phone also having brand, price, and camera. And smartphone you can also buy and return, and feature phone also you can buy and return. It means both template having these are common attribute and these are common behavior. Both at classes, both template having this common attribute and this common behavior. So here we have two type of phone. Suppose tomorrow we have different 10 type of phone. All the 10 different type templates contain some common attributes. Suppose these are attributes, brand, price, and camera is required to all type of phone. So suppose here we have defined only two category like a smartphone and feature phone. How many times these attributes we have need to define? We need to define two times in two different places. And similar this behavior, this personality, we need to define two place in two different places. So in this way, you are writing similar type functionality in multiple places that is not recommended to use. So here, how you can overcome this problem, how you can avoid to repeating this line of code. So you can identify first of all among the template which attributes is common among the template, and you can define one separate class, and in this class you can give some common name. Just like feature phone and a smartphone, we have common name like a phone. So we have defined one class like a phone, and in this phone class, we are going to define all the common attributes and common behavior which are associated with feature phone and a smartphone. And after that, we have defined the feature phone, and then we have defined the smartphone. In feature phone, we have just defined feature phone related specific functionality and feature. Similar in the smartphone, we are defining only smartphone related specific functionality and feature. And whatever common features and functionality that we have required for feature phone and smartphone, we have defining in a separate class. So since both the classes of the type of phone, so we can create one phone class with common attributes and method and make those two classes inherited those attribute and behavior. Okay, what mean of this line? Suppose feature phone contain only feature phone specific functionality, but feature phone also require this functionality and this behavior also. So then feature phone, what need to do? Feature phone needs to inherit the phone class. And then similar, you can define a smartphone. In the smartphone, you can define a smartphone related specific feature and functionality. And whatever common features that you have required that phone class has, the smartphone needs to inherit the feature of the phone class. So inheritance actually is the mechanism by which one class can extend, one class can reuse the feature of another class. So one class can consume the feature of another class just by stabilizing one relationship between both classes like parent and child relationship. So here we have one relationship between phone versus feature phone and a smartphone. Phone act as a parent class and feature phone act as a child class. So feature phone just actually inheriting the feature of the phone class. So here you can use the concept of inheritance. So inheritance, what is the inheritance? Actually, inheritance is the mechanism by which one class can consume the member of another class just by stabilizing the parent-child relationships. Here, one class acts as a parent class, another class acts as a child class. So in this example here, phone class acts as a parent class, whereas a feature phone and a smartphone act as a child classes. So in case of inheritance, actually you can reuse those features, you can inherit those features. Once any class inherit the another class, automatic whatever parent class contain feature, automatic those feature come into the child class. So that is the inheritance. What the advantage actually? So remember this point, when a class inherit from another class, then those classes are said to be inheritance relationships. So whenever one class inheriting to the another class, remember this point, when one class inheriting to the another class, then those classes are said to have a inheritance relationship. The class which is inheriting is called as a child class, subclass, or derived class. This means the class which inheriting the feature of another class, that class is called as a child class, subclass, or derived class. And which is getting inherited is called as a parent class, superclass, base class. So inheritance is also represent is a relationship. Inheritance is also called as a is a relationship. So we can say feature phone is a feature phone type also, but feature phone is a phone type also because feature phone contain the feature of phone also. Smartphone is a phone type. So in our example, feature phone is inheriting the phone and smartphone is inheriting the phone class. So smartphone is a phone and feature phone is a phone. So phone is the parent class and feature and smartphone are the derived classes. Okay, so what the advantage actually of the inheritance concept? So here what is the advantage of the inheritance concept? Actually, there are three main advantages of the inheritance concept. One is the we can keep common properties in a single place. So thus any changes needs to be made, needs to be not need to be repeated. It means whatever common property we have, we can keep those common property in a single place. So tomorrow if you want to make any changes, you need to make changes in one place and automatic those changes will be reflected to all its subclasses. And second advantage, inheritance encourages the code reusability. It means already someone have developed the personality. If you require similar personality, no need to redefine that personality. Just you can reuse that personality which is already developed by someone. And third advantage, suppose if you want to add a new type of phone and later on, so we can simply inherit the phone class instead of writing it from the scratch. So suppose tomorrow you want to add any other category of the phone, so no need to define that phone class from the scratch. Just you can define a class and inherit the phone class. This means you can simply inherit the phone class instead of writing it from the scratch. So these are advantage of the inheritance. So let's now we are try to understand, we are try to implement this feature. So we have defined phone class and then we define feature phone and smartphone. So let's now we open our VS Code and in this VS Code we open our folder. So Groovy practice we have opened. Let's now we open the Groovy practice code and let's get try to understand. So here we have created one, you can check a phone class phone.groovy. We have created phone.groovy class. In this phone class, you can check how you can define class. What is the class name? Phone. Phone. In this phone class, you can check how many property required, brand, price, camera. So similar, you can define a string, brand, string, sorry, brand, price, camera. So you can define double, price, and string, camera. So this is a phone class we have defined. Okay, so you have defined phone class. Okay, first we understand with simple example and then we are trying to understand with this example. So in this phone class, we have how many features we have defined? Brand, price, and camera. Let's now we define another class, feature phone class. Feature phone class. Feature phone dot groovy. Feature phone dot groovy. In this feature phone class, feature phone, yes, we have defined feature phone class, feature phone class. In this feature phone, we have defined type attribute. String only we require type. Okay, so just we have defined type. You can check here, just we have defined which type. Okay, let's now we go to the test.py. Sorry, test.groovy. In this test.groovy, we can move to the demo.groovy. Okay, in demo.groovy, so just you can check here. Here we have created feature phone class object. So feature phone, FP, feature phone equal to new feature phone. So just we have created the feature phone object and just check here. Okay, now just with println you can check here. Now feature phone has how many property you can check here. Feature phone has type property. You can check here. Type property. fp dot type. Okay, let's now try to run it. Now you can check here. Okay, so guys, check here, I think. Okay, here we have defined, you can check here, there are two class. One is the phone class, you can check here. Go to the phone class, we have defined phone class. Okay, you can check here. Here we have defined phone class. Phone class contains which property? Brand, price, and camera. And then we have defined one feature phone. Yes, no? In the feature phone, we have defined only which property? Type property. Now, as of now, we have defined two different classes, phone and feature. But now go to the demo.groovy file. So here just we have created the feature phone object. And now you can check here feature phone has one property type. Now default value is a null because we have not initialized its property. Okay, so suppose if you try to print ln, yes, no, print ln fp dot, I want to access like brand. Can you access? Check here. So if you run it and check here, now you can check here, it knows such properties. Actually, feature phone doesn't have such type property, so you can't invoke. Go to the feature phone. It means feature phone required all those property which are available in your phone class. So one is the approach, you can redefine those properties that are available in phone class in your feature phone, or otherwise you can reuse those functionality. So how we can reuse? We can reuse those functionality just by inheriting the phone class. So how we can inherit one class, another class? So suppose feature phone want to inherit the phone class. So feature phone needs to use extend keyword. Here we are using extend keyword for inheritance. Extend, feature phone needs to extend the feature of which class? Phone class. So once feature phone extend the phone class, automatic whatever features are available in phone class, those features come into your feature phone also. Now go to the demo.groovy and you can verify. Let's save it and make it clear and check here. Now if you run it and now you can check here in the demo.groovy, you can check here. Now you are able to access brand value also. As of now, it's giving null because you have not initialized it, but you are able to access. But earlier you have seen if you try to fetch, you will get the error, no such property. It means this is a way we can inherit the one class. So how we can inherit one class and another class feature using the extend keyword. So here which class want to inherit? Feature phone want to inherit which class? Feature phone class. So feature phone needs to write extend and phone. So it means phone class become as a parent and feature phone become as a child. Okay, go to the phone class. In the phone class, let's we define a phone class constructor. So here we're going to define zero parameterized constructor in a phone class, and just we have written the statement. This is a phone class constructor. Phone class constructor. Phone class constructor. This is a phone class constructor. And now go to the feature phone class. In the feature phone also we defining a constructor. So feature phone. Let's just we write down the statement. This is a feature phone constructor. Feature phone constructor. Feature phone constructor. Now if you save it and check here, if you run it once again, go to the demo.groovy file and check here, go to the demo.groovy and check the outcome. So you can check here. Here you have created which class object. Okay, let's understand. If you remove it, let's be clear once again and then try to understand. Suppose if you want to create a phone class object, phone p equal to new phone, I have created phone class object. So when you create the instance of any class, earlier we have discussed the constructor of class will invoke. In phone class, you have zero parameterized constructor. Now that constructor gets invoked. You can check here which class constructor will invoke. Phone class constructor will invoke. So here we can check here phone class is a parent class and feature phone is the child class. So this is a phone class and this is a feature phone, and feature phone is the child class of the of the phone class. So here we have this is the phone class. This is a phone class. This is a phone class and this is a feature phone. Feature phone. This is a feature phone. This is a phone class and feature phone. And then now understand here. So when you create a phone class object, phone class constructor will invoke. Okay, let's now we created the child class object. So which class constructor needs to invoke? Actually, basically which class object you are creating, that class constructor will invoke. But here you can check here what happened. So once you run it, you can check before invoking the feature phone class constructor, first it's invoke its parent class constructor and then its child class constructor. So very important point that you need to keep your mind in case of inheritance while you creating the child class object, control go to the child class constructor and first of all it will check child class there is any parent for that child class. If there is any parent, then it control pass to its parent class constructor first of all. So first of all, its parent class constructor will invoke, then its child class constructor invoke. So this is a rule that you need to remember in case of inheritance, whenever you're creating the child class object, whenever you're creating the child class object, first of all, it will call its parent class constructor, then it will call its child class constructor, then it will call its child class constructor. So whenever you create parent class or child class object, first which constructor will invoke? First it will invoke parent class constructor, then it will invoke its child class constructor. So that is called as a constructor. So it means when you create parent class object, there's no first of all, okay, when you create child class object, first of all, which constructor will invoke? First of all, it's parent class constructor, then its child class constructor will invoke. Okay, go to the parent class, and now in this parent class, let's define parameterized constructor. We want to initialize is brand, price, and camera. So we declare three parameter: brand, price, and camera. Now we want to initialize, so you can write this dot. We have discussed this dot brand equal to brand. So you can define within a block, yes, local parameter and instance variable using the this keyword. So okay, so this dot price, this dot camera equal to camera. So now we have defined parameterized constructor. Go to the feature phone. In the feature phone, I need to record how many parameters? Only one parameter. We need to initialize only type property. So you can write this dot type property, this dot type equal to type. Now we have initialized it. Okay, so you can check here if you go to demo.groovy. Actually, if you check here, if you created the feature phone class object, feature phone class pass the type. Suppose type we are passing something ABC, and now if you run, check here the challenge what happened. Okay, here you can check here. Problem is happened. Yes, no, you can check here. In constructor calling. Actually, when you create child class object control, go to the child class constructor. From child class constructor, it will invoke its parent class constructor. Now, who is the parent class? Phone class. But phone class constructor requires three parameters. Phone class constructor requires three parameters. So, how you can pass an parent class constructor value? Because parent class take a parameterized constructor, parameterized required user defined value. So how we can, yes, no, pass those value in parent class constructor? Because when you created the child class object, first of all, actually parent class constructor will invoke. If parent class constructor is parameterized, so it means you need to supply those value. You have need to supply those value. So how we can supply? Okay. So if you want to call yes or no, parent class constructor from the child class constructor explicitly, then here we are using the keyword. Go to the feature phone, that is a super method. Okay, so here you can write super. What you can write? Super method. Okay, you can check here. Parent class constructor, how many argument required? Parent class constructor requires three value, brand, price, and camera. So while you defining child class constructor, in child class constructor, you can take more three parameter, and now that parameter value like brand, price, and camera, those value you can supply to its super method. Super method basically what does? It will invoke parent class constructor from the child class constructor. Super method basically helps to invoke parent constructor from the child constructor. So if you want to invoke parent class constructor from the child class constructor explicitly, then you can use super method. So type, brand, price, and camera. Type, suppose I given here ABC, brand I have given iPhone, suppose, comma iPhone, comma iPhone, and then comma, and the feature phone it asking price and camera. Price I have given like two something something, and camera suppose I given 10 pixel. Okay, if you save it, and now you can check here if you run it. Now you can check. Now it's working. So what happened actually when you create a feature phone object, you have passed four value. Now control go to its parent is constructor, feature phone constructor. Now feature phone constructor receive four value. Now from feature phone constructor, we are using the super method. Super method basically used to invoke parent class constructor from the child class constructor. If parent class contains zero parameterized constructor, suppose earlier we have defined zero parameterized constructor, then writing super method in the child class constructor optional. You want, you can define, otherwise you can ignore. But if parent class contains parameterized constructor, then writing super method in the child class constructor is mandatory. And check here in parent class how many parameter required, because parameterized constructor needs value. So those value we need to supply explicitly. So go to the feature phone. In the feature phone, yes, no, in the feature phone constructor, you can define super method and you can call parent class constructor by passing their brand, price, and camera value. Now you can check here. This value basically initialize your phone class feature and then we initialize the type property. And now you can check it once you create the feature phone object. Now your phone is ready. And if you want to use those features, so now you can use fp dot. Suppose which feature you want to access. I want to access brand value. I want to access camera. Print and fp dot camera. You can check it. You are ready to use. So if you run it and you can check that. Now you can check it. You are able to access. So this is a inheritance basically. So what is inheritance? Inheritance is the mechanism by which one class can consume the feature of another class just by stabilizing parent-child relationships. And second, how one class can consume the feature of another class. Suppose we have class A, remember this point, if we have class A and we have class B, now class B want to use the feature of class A, so class B can extend, we can use extend keyword class A. And now, very important point, uh, if you create a child class object, so first of all, its parent class constructor will invoke, then its child class constructor will invoke. If parent class contains zero parameterized constructor, suppose if you define zero parameterized constructor in the parent class, then writing super method in the child class constructor is optional. So here you can write super method or not. But if parent class contains parameterized constructor, suppose it takes one parameter, it means now writing super method is mandatory and you can supply value from child class constructor to its parent class constructor. So it requires one value, suppose integer type, so you can supply any value. So this is the inheritance. I hope it's clear. Thank you.